on to the current issue in St. Louis area that makes me frustrated because the government refuses to listen to people. Airports. They're pretty important. Full of stressed, overcrowded people. That one family that showed up 2 hours too late and is just booking it through the airport. Unsurprisingly, the St. Louis airport is one of the biggest sources for revenue in our area. People that don't live here come in, they spend money in our airport, and then they leave. Meaning, we got more money now in the area. Good for us. But back in the good old days, we used to make even more money. The Lambert Airport used to be an international hub, which means you could fly from here straight to London or China or wherever without needing a 3-hour layover in DC or Texas or Chicago. While our airport's no longer the huge hub it used to be, it's still growing and expanding rapidly, and some people in the government are saying that we're having trouble keeping it up to date. So if you aren't aware, the Lambert Airport is owned and controlled by the St. Louis government, but at the rate the airport is growing, the government just simply does not have enough money to help expand with the amount of people that have been coming in. So one of the solutions that some brilliant people in our government has come up with is to sell our airport that's now owned by our government to private investors. This would allow other companies to then own and control the terminals, so they would then control what airlines are going to which terminals, so the airlines would then pay this company instead of paying the government to come into St. Louis. And basically, the companies will be able to get money from investors rather than taxpayers, so they could easily expand the airport. So what's the problem? Well, if a company is then running the airport, it becomes more like a business. Rather than just keep the airport up to date, the business needs to make a profit. Right now, the government's only renting out the terminals for what it takes to run and maintain it with all of its employees and supplies. So they're making zero profits. So maybe a better question is, why is the government controlling the airport at all? Basically, without the government, the airport turns into a monopoly. So say an airline wants to land in St. Louis. The airline would be forced to buy or rent the area from this one company only. And then because of that, the company has zero competition. This is bad. The company can pretty much charge whatever they want. So this is a monopoly graph right here. For those of you who have not taken economics or have no idea what I'm talking about, the general rule is to always produce where MC equals MR, where marginal revenue equals marginal cost. This is because it's the most efficient for everyone involved. Marginal revenue is pretty much how much they're getting with each unit, and marginal cost is how much it costs. So, logically, if you want to make enough money and also get the profit that you want, provide good prices for the customers, you're going to produce where marginal revenue equals marginal cost. The reason you have to go with the marginal revenue line whenever you're in a regular sort of company or situation is because you have competition that will eventually charge where MR equals MC, providing the lowest cost. However, because monopolies don't have any competition, they can produce where demand equals marginal cost. The company would charge a price, but not all airlines could reasonably afford to go here at that price, meaning we have less airlines coming into our airport, which is bad news because that gives us less options and less people. And even those that do come to our airport are paying more than they would otherwise. Therefore, in order to supply their own business needs, they would need to charge higher ticket costs, meaning customers like us St. Louisans flying out of St. Louis or people coming into St. Louis are going to have to spend more. And clearly, if you're just looking for a short layover in St. Louis, you're going to avoid it if it's going to cost you more. So, in the long run, we're going to get less economic growth because there's going to be less people coming in, and it's going to cost us more money, and it's going to reduce our money circulation as we're not getting more people to come in. It's going to cause this deadweight loss. It's actually been seen in some of the other countries where almost all of their airports are privatized, like areas in Europe and Australia. None of their airports that have been privatized have seen greater efficiencies or greater customer satisfaction. If this is going to hurt our area in the long run, why is the government still looking into this? So former Mayor Francis Slay wanted to expand our airport because logically it would then improve our economy. But the government, again, did not have enough money to expand it. Therefore, he looked into other ways that he could make this happen. So he landed on the idea of privatization. Who's helping him convince the legislator that they should privatize? Good old Russ Skinfield. I don't know if I'm saying that name wrong. I'm very sorry. So basically, he gave the consulting group that's working with the government to decide if this is a good idea or a bad idea a ton of money to maybe or maybe not go a certain way. His overall goal is to reduce the city's earnings tax because he wants to make the government kind of laissez-faire. He kind of wants to then control so that he could take the profits that the government could be making. Honestly, the airport is doing fine. Despite a slight dip after 9/11, the airport is pretty much bringing in a constant stream of wealth into the city. And of course, it's only logical to want to increase that, but if it's going to hurt all people in the long run, it doesn't make much sense. While it would be nice to expand in that sort of way, there's no point in doing it if it would just end up ruining one of the greatest points of wealth we have in our entire city. If it's not broke, don't fix it.